Hey there. It's officially been 30 days that I have been future self journaling, and I really want to talk about it. So let's do that. Okay, so I wrote down a few of my thoughts. There goes my phone, but you know what, that's okay, because we're talking journaling today, baby. After quitting my job, I started realizing that I was learning a lot about myself, and I just started needing to kind of categorize those thoughts, and then I learned about the future self journal. Now, this isn't like you have to get this specific journal to do future self journaling. You could do it literally on a post-it if you like, or on the back of a receipt, or some type of napkin in some romantic setting. You could dream about your future self. But today we're going to talk about my experience within the past 30 days. And if you guys took the challenge as well that I put in my last video up here, then I hope that you will also show up in the comments. So what did I learn from this? It might seem redundant to answer the exact same questions every single day for the rest of time. But do you know what I found? I found that things were very different and how I answered them every single day very different. So a future self journal is basically writing down things to connect yourself with your quote unquote future self, or the idea of what you want that person to be, because we're evolving every single day. We are shedding our snake skin every single day and kind of renewing who we are. The future self journal just kind of prompts you into really thinking about that more and making conscious decisions throughout your day.
First things first, when we think about journaling, oftentimes we'll think, okay, well, when am I going to journal? How am I going to incorporate this in my daily routine? For me, I found it really effective doing it in the morning. Doing that in the morning was a really great way of setting that intention and kind of overcoming everything that my mind had already worked up for me that day, whether I had too many tasks to attack or whatever it may be, or I had a self-limiting belief that was really based in fear. When I thought of my future self having traits of confidence, ambition, being a self-starter, it made me want to meet her in the middle. So I know that can sound a little maybe woo-woo to some people, but I really did find that effective. As well, answering these questions every single day, what I found so interesting about that is oftentimes, sometimes I would have an emotional trigger to something I would come up with. And that was a really cool way of being present in the moment, being still with myself, but then uncovering some of the pain bodies that I still had to work on. If we don't know the things that we have to work on, if we haven't uncovered those things that are maybe a little bit painful, or things that we kind of think on a daily basis based in fear, but we don't even realize, then how can we start kind of working to correct those? And I found that really interesting about this practice. 2, I really found future self-journaling to be a form of self-love. Now, self-love is one of those things that we are constantly peddled, right? Bubble baths, doing your nails, maybe going for a little walk. But I honestly think self-love is so much more than that, and I know that all of us have been learning that as well. I think that self-love is really more of a self-discovery, recreating a relationship with yourself and remembering how worthy you are. And rooted in that is just spending time with yourself and really kind of falling back in love with who you are. I really do love bubble baths, and I do love going for walks and all those things, but sometimes those aren't necessarily rooted in the heart of things, in getting to know yourself and being still. And it's in those quiet moments when our mind can kind of ramp up, especially maybe if we're going through a traumatic moment like a heartbreak or something like that. I think that a future self journal could be so beneficial. Like, I wish that I had this tool in my day when I was going through heartbreak, because I would be writing about how she would feel whole, and that would just give me hope that that was going to happen. And with time, that did happen. Okay, so let's get to some of the juicy parts. 1, my daily affirmation: I am ready. I already have the abilities to do these things that I want to do. Oh, this was a common one. I can stay on task and work for myself. As I'm kind of shifting into this entrepreneurship, building a business with a mentor of mine, and then creating content here on this channel, a lot of these had to do with really being that self-starter and getting over my self-limiting beliefs. An affirmation that I found really stuck with me was, I am allowing myself to have space to grow within a slow growth process. 2, today I will focus on shifting my pattern of. Oftentimes for the second one, I would say about task management, attracting happiness, focus on being a starter and press and go, on accepting change and not task switching, one thing at a time. 3, I am grateful for. I was learning about this the other day, and To do a gratitude journal, of course there are going to be things that we write down every day, like I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for health, I'm grateful for this home, for clean water, things that are kind of obvious, and those are always good things to reflect on being grateful for because those are big idea, big picture things. But one thing I would challenge you to do, and one thing that really helped me on a day-to-day basis practicing gratitude, was practicing gratitude on the little things that happened that day. I am grateful for the smile that this person gave me on a walk. It's just the smaller things that kind of make it a little bit more meaningful, and then when you look back on them, you're like, oh yeah, it is all of those kind of little moments that compound. Oh, this is so cute. I'm grateful for a great sleep and Scotty saying the smell of this coffee is wonderful. Just a simple moment. Grateful for my ability to connect. That's another thing too, is don't be afraid to say something that you're grateful for, something that you are doing well currently. I have the opportunity to be my future self today when my favorite question of all of these is, I have the opportunity to be my future self today when I think that's so cool because this question pulls that future self right into the present moment. So for this one I wrote, putting down what no longer serves me. I love that one. I also wrote, when I give myself patience and understanding, when I complete work for myself and create without judgment. 6, when I think about who I am becoming, I would say I feel ready, I feel excited, I feel motivated. And then some days, to be honest, I found this question really hard to write as well. So some days I would say how much excitement I had to kind of meet up with my future self. And then some days I wrote about how impatient I am. And what did I say here? I'm a little impatient. I know it takes time, but I want to be there right now. And that kind of refocuses back up into the top when I was talking about slow growth, because in this one it says, or on a path of more exponential growth. Person I am becoming will experience more. I often wrote excitement, passion, fulfillment, contentment, joy, confidence, flow. And number 7 is 3 traits my future self will have is or are. I don't know about you guys, but I had to look up a bunch of traits and then start to identify with them. For the last question, 3 traits I will identify with are, I oftentimes wrote patience, confidence, self-starter, a positive outlook, resilience, but the most common ones within all of those when I filtered them through was confidence, passionate, and ambitious. So those were all of my main answers. Doing this every single day, coming up with those answers and seeing that oftentimes they stayed the same or there were things that were slightly shifting day to day, made me realize that self-love in this kind of way is a never-ending conversation. You constantly need to have it with yourself, and just realizing that life is happening for you, not happening to you. This kind of practice shifts you from being in that victim mindset to more of harnessing the power to control your every single day emotions. All of this I found really encouraging, and this is definitely going to be a habit that I continue to have day to day. It's something that I have found to be very valuable. And if you do forget a day or miss a day, there were a couple of times when things got busy and I just didn't have the opportunity to fill this out. I never felt bad about it. Especially on the days that I was working for myself, I would make sure that I did it because it set that intention for the day, and I just found that I would have a more positive outlook, and 2, I would just be striving to be that ambitious self-starter that I'm writing about here. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did try future self journaling, I would love to hear about your journey down below. Things that you found, things that you liked, things that you didn't like, and questions that you have been asking yourself every day, and maybe some common answers that you also had. Let's start a conversation down there. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.